Welcome to the Old Man of the Three with JJ Redick and Tommy Alter, brought to you by 342 Productions. This is episode 218. Devin Booker, probably not a secret. I am a fan of basketball, and I am a fan more so of certain players than other players. And that's okay. I have no problem admitting that. Everybody knows my fandom of Derek White. I'm a Devin Booker fan. Have been for a long time. I love how he goes about the game. You know, one thing Mike Breen said to me recently, Devin Booker is a guy that could play in any era. And I think that's true. He's tough. He's got a lot of skills, a lot of different skills. He can pass, he can shoot, he can score at all three levels. He's a competitor. And that's what I think I appreciate the most about Book. Spent some time with him in Phoenix on Friday. Can't wait for you guys to hear this conversation. One of the best players in the NBA, four-time All-Star, first-team All-NBA a couple seasons ago. Phoenix, of course, fighting for a position in the Western Conference, which brings me to our DraftKings Sportsbook segment. I want to talk Lakers and Kings real quick. Big game Wednesday night in what will ultimately have some major implications in the Western Conference. The Kings right now in seventh place, tied in the loss column with the Phoenix Suns, and the LA Lakers tied in the loss column with the Golden State Warriors, but they have played three more games, so they are in ninth place right now. Kings are interesting to me because they had this, I don't want to call it a Cinderella run. They were a really good basketball team last year, but they got the 3 seed last year, now battling to secure a top 6 seed this season. De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis having great seasons. The Lakers on the heels, to be honest with you, on the heels of the 6 seed Phoenix Suns, the Sacramento Kings in 7th, and the Dallas Mavericks in 8th. How about Anthony Davis? He's having, to me, an overlooked All-NBA type season. This is a guy who's averaging 25 points a game, 12 and a half rebounds, 3.6 assists, the most assists he's had for a season in a Lakers uniform, and of course, the steals and blocks. We've touched on this recently. He is, to me, having not only an all-NBA season, having an all-defensive type season. His rim protection, the numbers say he's been excellent. He's second in the NBA in blocks. I think it gets overlooked sometimes because of LeBron, because of some narrative stuff. But Anthony Davis is a fantastic player. He's also not a guard. He's not a guard. A lot of the gripe sometimes with Anthony Davis is like, oh, he's not assertive. Well, he's got to get the ball. I'll give you an example. Anthony Davis, he's third in post-ups this year. He shoots 56% on post-ups. After the Denver Lakers game last Saturday, everybody was griping about Anthony Davis. He's got to shoot more, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? He had one post-up that game. And as far as I remember, I don't remember them trying to post him up. He's got to be in a position, his teammates, of course, coaching, whatever it may be, he's got to be in a position to succeed on the offensive end. You look at the Western Conference right now, current championship odds in the West, Lakers at plus 14, Kings at plus 3,000. You can also bet on Lakers playoff odds, Kings playoff odds, Lakers at minus 130 to make the playoffs, Kings at minus 350 to make the playoffs. And for the Lakers to not make the playoffs, they're at plus 105. For the Kings to not make the playoffs, they're at plus 260. And again, to make the playoffs means you secure a top 8 seed. And right now, what would be a fascinating 9-10 play-in game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, LeBron James, Steph Curry. Looking forward to it. This has been our DraftKings Sportsbook segment. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code JJ. New customers who deposit $5 or more can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in a bonus bet if your first bet loses. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code JJ. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. One no-sweat bet per new customer. Issued as one bonus bet based on amount of initial losing bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/promos for deposit, wagering, and eligibility restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Let's get to Devin Booker. Larry Bird won't return my call. He won't return my...
What's that about?
I disrespected Larry Bird.
What'd you say?
I said he was a top 10 player ever and one of the greatest shooters ever. But he's not a top 5 3-point shooter ever. And that's disrespectful. So
you won't hear from him again.
I'm
pretty sure hear from Larry the Legend again.
Pretty sure Larry wasn't going to return a request anyways. Did you collect basketball cards as a kid?
All cards.
All cards. Pokemon?
No, all sports cards.
All sports cards.
Yeah. I still have them.
Do you?
Yeah. They're not the best cards, but at the time, they were the thing to me.
Do you buy cards now?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Do you collect
I don't
shoes?
sign much either like that. You know that first Panini deal that everyone does as a rookie? I kind of cut that short, and I always had an interest in it because I like collecting things, so I understand the value that your rookie card is probably going to be your most expensive.
Did you collect other things? When did you realize you like to collect?
I think it's just a lifestyle. You can just start in a closet, an overfull closet, and trying to get rid of things. You just have a certain attachment to everything in there. And I just feel like that with everything. At the same time of always wanting to be a little organized. So it drives me a little crazy.
I don't know you well,
yeah,
but from the outside, it feels like there's an order to your life. There's a structure. There's a attention to detail. There's like correct me if I'm wrong, there's an obsessiveness to your sort of day. I'm not saying you don't go off the map sometimes, but there's like an obsessiveness to the day. Is that accurate?
I feel like that's every driven person though. And everybody that, is good at your craft. And I know at least everybody that I respect and have idolized since, being a kid has kind of had those same traits. You're the same way.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't like how my brain works.
Yeah. Bro, I used to watch you during your shooting time. You must have been one of the earlier groups because it was my first 2 years in the NBA, and I would watch you in the back. They would just have the standing camera on there where they like zoom into somebody else. But I remember just vividly watching your whole entire workout and just seeing the speed you were going at, the mindset you had. Like it was all your game shots at 100% full speed. Nobody does that.
I'm so jealous when I would watch guys like DeMar in warm-ups, Luka in warm-ups. They just go, they go at like 50% speed.
Yeah.
Like I can't do that. I wasn't good enough to do that, first of all. What speed do you go in warm-ups?
I think it just all depends on the night. I'd say 85. I don't want to strain or get nothing off, but I'm definitely ready to go by the time I leave.
It's interesting. When I played, to your point, I was very like locked in about the routine of the day, right? The routine of my pregame meal, my nap, my shoot around, my pregame shooting, my stretching routine, my mobility work, all that stuff. I was so locked in. I didn't pay attention to like how other guys warmed up. It wasn't until I got to the other side and retired. And I've called a few of your games, and like, it's weird because like there is a different energy some nights for you. Is that purposeful? Can you control that?
No, you can't control it. It's just finding the new motivation for the day. You know what I'm saying? It's, it could be the smallest things. And, I've had this conversation with a lot of players, like, you know what it is going to be that day that might have you pissed off a bit or just on a whole different energy. Like, it's nothing that's planned, but, you know, every game's not the same as much as people want to say. Like, you treat game 20 the same as a playoff game. Like, I try my best, but, you know, there's just something with the energy that, you know, just brings you to that level.
The static energy, the static motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You're now 4-time All-Star, first-team All-NBA, max contract, signature shoe, which we'll get to in a second. What's the static sort of motivation, the static energy that you bring on game 20 on a Wednesday night in Portland? Like, what is like what is the drive? What is the drive? Because you've kind of done it, right? This is the reason I'm asking, is because I'm really fascinated by great players who are great again, and then are great again, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh no, that motherfucker was great 4 years ago, and now he's better than he was 4 years ago. And you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys. You've consistently got better, even though you had greatness early.
Yeah. Well, we're getting our ass kicked early. You know, nobody cares about you when, you know, you score 30 and lose. Like, nobody hated me then or disliked me then. Like, that comes when you start winning games. Like, I guess when you're some sort of a threat, you know, I would word it as, but, you know, it's in music, it's in every industry. I just feel like early on, you know, when you're out the way and just doing your thing, people are cool with it. But, you know, when you turn into a threat, I feel like that's when you start hearing about yourself.
There's like a narrative around that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we were talking earlier, and you said to me, you were like, people think I didn't talk shit till we started winning. And I just want to let the audience know that Devin Booker, as a rookie, was talking shit to me from day one. That's who you've
down
been.
20. Down 20
in the Staples Center.
Yeah.
It's funny because CP, when I his first year here, when I talked to him, he's like, "Nah, Devin's a psycho," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, I saw that in 2015, 2016. I saw that right away."
Yeah, I'd say I don't know where that came from, where I just started doing it as of late, but I feel like, you know, trash talking is a lifestyle. It's something that, you know, the environments that I grew up in, we've been doing that since we say yay high. You know what I'm saying? Since I was this tall, like, in everything we did, though, not just basketball. So I've been around some creative, witty guys that, you know, have delivered some of the best lines ever in my dad's open gym. And, you know, I've heard some great things in the NBA, but, you know, there's an art to it.
There's obviously been some back and forth with you and Luka.
Uh-huh.
And I had a conversation with RJ and Legler. I don't know if it was the end of last season or the beginning of this year, but we talked about how there are essentially no more rivalries in the NBA. And some of that, I think, is because there's more player movement. And so the same teams, we're not getting the Heat versus the Knicks 4 straight years in the playoffs. We're not getting the Bulls, Jazz. I mean, obviously we had the Cavs, Warriors, but right now there's so much parity and so much player movement. We're not seeing that as much. Do you have any insight as to why you don't think there are as many player rivalries or team rivalries in the NBA today? And also, by the way, do you think it would be good for the NBA if there was more shit talking between certain players, more shit talking between certain teams?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, the environments I grew up in, that's how the game was played, and, you know, most of the guys that I idolized, you know, did the same, and the guys that I still idolize do it. I'd say there's no real rivalries because, you know, I say grassroots basketball. Like, a lot of these guys we've known for a really long time, and I think people just realize that, it's not that deep half the time. Like people always say, oh, they're not about to fight out on the court. They're not about to do that. Yeah, that's a $500,000 fight. Like, yeah, nobody should do that. But, I haven't heard it too many times where like crazy lines were crossed on the court. But it has happened. And, I've seen people handle it behind the scenes in the correct way, like men should. But it's usually not that deep.
To one of your teammates recently.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. But you never see that happen.
No.
And you can even do it in the tunnel now. Like when people meet me in the tunnel, you still get suspended. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if somebody still feels that way out and you guys run into each other at dinner and whatever was said on the court was that deep, then it can be handled then. But it's usually not that big of a deal.
Do you think of yourself as an agitator at all?
Agitator. Competitor. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the shit talking is part of what makes you get in the mode, get in the mindset. It's not to agitate. It's like essentially it's a selfish thing. It's for you.
100%. Like that's how I grew up though, and everything. I had an older brother. I have a dad that's the same exact way. So it's always been competition from NBA Live before NBA 2K. We were talking shit on there. So, but believe it or not, I usually don't start it, but all I need to do is hear like any little thing and
that's what sick fucks do.
Yeah.
That's what sick fucks do.
Part of what we were talking about, the motivation of
you got to constantly look for it.
Yeah.
You got to look for it. Going back to the obsession and the just the attention to detail, so the audience knows, we are recording this right now, and the setup, right, to get to this point where we could record required Devin to move a bunch of items, to look through the camera lens multiple times. We've got 3 cameras here.
I cleared the bar, man. I cleared my bar. I wasn't trying to promote.
I loved it. I loved watching. I literally sat here in this chair. It was a long process. I enjoyed every bit of it. The Nike creative people doing your shoe. How much back and forth was there with that?
It's going on right now. Where is my phone? No, it's been great. It's been fun. I think, the first thing that they told me with the partnership is like, keep doing it. Like, this is how we get better. This is how, we just improve as a collaboration. So, that is what I'm obsessive over is the shoe. Cause, it was just always a dream of mine. I used to draw sketches as a kid all through school, put my signature on there, and now to relive that and actually be able to do that with, in my opinion, the best company in the world.
You would draw your own signature shoe as a kid.
Yeah.
So this was always in the vision plan.
I mean, I think in a lot of kids' vision plan, the idea of having a shoe with Nike.
It wasn't in my vision plan.
Was it?
It wasn't in mine. Do you think I think about
Did
this.
you collect sneakers though? You collect things?
I mean, I didn't have money for sneakers, honestly. And I'm not trying to play victim here. I just we just didn't have money for sneakers.
That was the hunt. That was the best part about it.
Sometimes when I got 2 boys and they play basketball now, and I'm buying them Nike shoes, right? And it's March right now. They started playing this season back in October. And they probably each been through 4 or 5 pairs of shoes. And man, every time I fucking hit that order button on Nike.com, I'm just so grateful. I literally am. Yeah. They don't know, and someday they will be grateful. They don't know. But it's wild to me. It's wild to me.
Or waiting in lines. I've done that a couple of times and camped out for some Jordans.
As an NBA player?
No.
Like at a sneaker store.
Oh, you're saying off your Nike Elite account.
I don't have a Nike Elite account anymore. I'm retired, bro. I wasn't a big deal.
You were with Adidas? I'm tripping. You were
I was a
competitor.
at the end of my career. I was with Nike I did Nike AU. Duke was Nike. First 10, 11 years I was with Nike. My Air Max 90s, man, they get a lot of wear. I was going to ask you though, because I think with certain guys whose fathers played at a high level, like in some ways, I think, and I'm like grappling with this right now with my own kids, in just like, what is a realistic dream? What seems attainable? Obviously, if they turn out to be 5'9", like two little white kids, they're not going to be in the NBA.
Why not?
It's unlikely. I'll just say that it's unlikely.
Well, you can't. You got to for sure make sure they don't feel that way.
No,
they can do it. Why not?
They're
shooting it like you.
I gassed them up more than anything.
Yeah.
But did your dad playing at a high, did that sort of give you any more confidence? Did it make the dream seem more attainable?
100%. And that relationship grew even more when I moved to Mississippi in high school, because I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I told you I had an older brother. That's who I was chasing from a child on. And I think just having an older brother and just wanting to play with his friends, be on the court with them, at the same time as knowing that my dad's playing professional basketball overseas was like a great combination, because I was always with the older kids. Then I moved with him, and I was always just around people that were older than me. So at the young ages, I feel like those age gaps definitely matter. My brother's 3.5 years older than me, so 10 to almost 14, like, and I'm holding my own with them guys.
Always play up.
Yeah.
Always play up.
Got to.
Always play up. I played up.
Kids, and then you go back with your own age.
Yeah.
You're like, you guys don't know nothing about this. You don't know nothing about this.
The NBA season is in full swing, and when I can't get enough of the action on the court, I spice things up betting on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $150 instantly in bonus bets. There's a massive game Wednesday night in Sacramento. The LA Lakers visit the Sacramento Kings in a game that has major implications for the Western Conference standings. North Carolina listeners, don't forget DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in your state. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code JJ. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code JJ. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/bball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. We're approaching that time of year when the sun comes out and the weather is perfect for a nice little outside barbecue. And if you're anything like me, you have to have some music playing outside, and the best way to listen is the all-new Move 2 by Sonos. The Move 2 is a powerful and portable smart speaker for listening all around your home and beyond. Connect to Wi-Fi at home or Bluetooth for listening on the go, and stream music, podcasts, and audiobooks from all your favorite services. I take this thing everywhere with me, inside, outside, the golf simulator, everywhere. And don't worry about the elements. This powerful and durable speaker weathers sun, splashes, sand, and accidental drops with ease. Enjoy easy control with the Sonos app, Apple AirPlay 2, and your voice. Mix and match with other Sonos speakers to create the ultimate sound system for immersive home theater and multi-room music. I remember reading this article your rookie year. Zach Lowe from ESPN wrote an article about your rookie year, and it goes into your history and sort of how you got to the NBA. There was a quote, and I don't want to butcher the quote in there, but there was something in there from Zach that said your dad taught you that basketball IQ was as important as skills and athleticism. 2 questions on that.
That's what you need to be telling your kids.
That's all I coached him on.
There it is.
It's weird. It's weird too, because like with my oldest in particular, he takes criticism so well, and I've been on him lately. He's fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a good athlete, right? I've been on him lately about he gets a steal or a rebound in traffic. Again, these kids are 9 and 10 years old. Like, you have to be cognizant of who you're passing ahead to. I like that you see some passes. You also have to be cognizant of time and score. Are they on a run? Are we on a run? And like this year especially, he's like starting to figure that out. But man, there's certain practices where he makes those dumb throw ahead passes. It ends up in a turnover. I'm on his ass. That's basketball IQ to me, right? Recognizing the game situation.
That's a layer right there.
It's a layer.
You just peel back a layer.
Yeah, it's a layer for a 9-year-old to process.
For any age to process.
So
shit, I'll do it sometimes too.
We all did it. It's funny because like I think you're a smart basketball player. I think Jokic is a smart basketball player. I think LeBron's a smart basketball player. It's not like every smart basketball player only makes smart basketball plays. We all do dumb shit.
Yeah.
We all do dumb shit. As a kid, what did like basketball IQ mean to you? Even just through high school as a McDonald's All-American, at Kentucky, even early in your NBA career, what did it mean to you? And then how did your sort of own basketball IQ evolve once you got to the NBA?
Just being a student of the game. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, just loving it. Just watching it different ways, just really wanting to be better. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to put the word. You just view the game differently than everybody, and still learning. Like, there's a lot. Like, the game constantly evolves at the same time as us. So I feel like year in, year out, there's like a new trick or trade to figuring it out.
What do you mean by us? When you say us, say it.
Yeah, them ones.
Yeah,
them ones.
That is one of the best points you can make on this.
Mm-hmm.
The evolution of the game is based on the best players. The reason that teams play the way they do now can be directly related to Steph Curry, right?
Yeah,
it's the truth. At some point, somebody's going to figure out how to fucking guard Jokic and Murray in the 2-man game. At some point,
one day.
Maybe if Aaron Gordon's not lurking in that dunker spot. But like, seriously, like, I think strategy, analytics, all this stuff, like, it's fine. Like, it's great. X's and O's, misdirections, all that stuff is great. The game evolves as the best players evolve. And I love that you said us.
You like that? Oh, man.
I love that you said us.
Yeah.
When you got to the NBA, did it feel overwhelming? This part of it, the thinking part of it, the IQ part of it, not the talent part of it. I know you knew you were talented enough.
I used to watch a lot of NBA games, so, and a lot of my training, credit to my pops, was like tailored for NBA basketball rather than even high school. Like, that's what we were on. Yeah, and I was just never the most athletic or fastest, so just finding other ways to be effective.
You mentioned playing on bad teams early on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that was bothersome as a competitor. The difference between bad teams, balanced teams, super teams. I'm very curious to sort of get into this with you, because I think about basketball and narratives a lot because I have to do it. I think about the day-to-day pressures of being an NBA player, and it's all sort of related to expectations and pressure you put on yourself, pressure you put on your team, and like fit, right? So when you came in as a young player and you guys weren't very good and you were putting up numbers, I think there was like this sort of sentiment that he was like a good player on a bad team, like an empty scorer. Did you feel that? Did you hear that?
I forgot the catch and shoot out of college first. That's what it was.
I forgot about that.
It was just not even 3-and-D guy. They just called me a 3 guy. I'm sorry, I got re-bothered by the he's only a catch and shoot guy. I mean, that's what I showed at Kentucky, though. But the benefit of being at Kentucky was in the practices is when all the coaches were there. And that's when you just scrimmage against each other. But we had a system. Coach Cal we were playing platoon system, 5 in, 5 out.
That was the year you guys were doing that.
Yeah, nobody's doing that. Or I don't remember a team doing that ever. Yeah, so that was first, the 3-and-D.
There was a moment your rookie year. I'll get back to my question in a second. I've told Jess this a million times. There was a moment your rookie year. I'm living in Manhattan Beach, and I watch League Pass every night, and I'm with one of my young children in the living room and watching the Suns game. And like you were in the rotation, but like your minutes were kind of like up and down your rookie year. And I don't know why this is like seared in my brain, but the announcers were talking about you and they like panned to you on the bench. And in TV, when they put up like Devin Booker last 7 games, 13.4 points, it's called a lower third. So they pan to you, there's a lower third, something about your stat line. And you had this fucking look on your face. And it was this like, it was a smirk, it was a smile. And I was like, oh shit, that motherfucker is a killer.
Yeah.
You were like it was the focus. You were not, it wasn't you sitting on the bench, like laughing, joking with a teammate.
We're probably losing.
I know you were.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're probably losing.
And you were on the bench.
Yeah, straight from Kentucky. Like, we lost 1 game the whole season to getting our head beaten every night. That's not easy, bro. Losing every night. And that's tough to do. Like, you have to find, like, we talk about motivation. Like, you're going into games kind of knowing the situation, knowing we're in a rebuild, but we're going to have to play our best game ever to win tonight. And I was down for that every night, and I was pissed off every time we lost.
I told you earlier, a couple hours ago, that like my 1 year in Orlando, I had to sort of reframe what winning was. It was my 7th year, and we were in a rebuild. Did you go through that process the first 4 years at all? Because I understand a little bit rookie year, being like, this is new. I'm 19, I'm 20 years old, and I've got to sort of find my way in the league. I think every young player has to do that. But the consistency, year 2 now, year 3 now, year 4 now, you're still going through this. Did you have to reframe your mindset about what winning was at all? Did you lose at all for any moments that sort of like competitiveness?
No, never. I told you it's a lifestyle. It's not even basketball based. This is everything. So I would say, like, I never walked into a game. I knew our odds might have been lower to win, but I always felt like I said, if we play a great game, we're gonna win tonight. Even when we're 15 and 50, like, okay, we got who next game? No, we're about to do this tonight. So it's just the constant repeat of that, waking up and like just loving the whole process of it and kind of seeing the light at the tunnel. Like being a young player and having opportunity is, the greatest thing that you can ask for, to be thrown in the fire and play through mistakes and still get to be on the court. Like, I feel like the game has changed a little bit to where, teams are either in like a win now or rebuild mode, but I'm just trying to win every night.
It's funny, Richie. I didn't re-ask the question, but he just answered my question. The question was just the differences for you from playing on bad teams, balanced teams, really good teams. Obviously, made the finals, and now playing on a super team. And I know the answer. I don't have to ask it again. It's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifestyle. I fucking love that. You're averaging a career high in assists this year. You guys, I think one of the sort of the discourse around the team is like, I don't have a true point guard. I don't have a true point guard. Do you feel like when you're early in your career, you're talking about getting thrown into the fire, you're getting obviously to develop, but you're not necessarily playing winning basketball? I think there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
Not that you weren't playing selfish basketball, but you're not playing winning basketball. Do you feel like your sort of early playmaking development, did that get stunted at all? Or did you feel like you were still like growing in that in terms of being a facilitator?
Yeah, that helped me grow.
Because you got the ball in your hands.
Yeah, I had the ball in my hands, and it was just the evolution of first you're the guy that they leave open on the court, then you hit a few shots, then they take away his threes, and you drive by him. You get an easy look or an easy midi. Like, all right, we got to take that away now, to the point to where you cause enough pressure where they have to double team you, and that's what it turned into. So just seeing different coverages, seeing different defenses every night, and playing through, I had a lot of high turnover games, but still just having the chance to grow and learn that. And now just after seeing so many defenses, like it's kind of like a database of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what they're doing 3 tonight. But playoff basketball is better because that's when people are making their adjustments game to game, or possession to possession, to where you don't even know what to expect.
As you sort of develop through all that to get to where you are, you don't have a Instagram famous personal skills coach. How do you sort of evaluate within the season, out of season, sort of what your weaknesses, what your strengths are, what you need to keep working on? Like, what does a workout look like for you in the off season as you're sort of like, oh, I need to get better at this? Like, how does that all work for you? Are you watching film? Are you doing second spectrum stuff? Are you like, or is it all in your own database?
I got a brother and a dad and some close friends that would keep it real with me, game to game too. Really? And they know I'm open to that. And then sometimes I might tell them, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? You never know. But no, even if they say it, I hear it. That's why I fell in love with this game in the first place. We just talked about the evolution of it, but at the same time, you can never perfect it. There's always going to be somebody doing something better than you.
How have you sort of gotten better against blitzes, in your opinion? Where do you think you struggled? Maybe not struggled, but where do you think you were easier to just get off the ball versus now? Like, how have you sort of evolved as a player? You're top 3. I think Jalen Brunson has overtaken you in the second spot for most blitz player in the league this year.
Yeah.
But that seems like something that happened for sure early on in your career. I always think back to like Game 6 and Game 7 in that Dallas series, where it's like, we're just going to blitz them every single time, right? And in some ways, it was a good strategy, and it worked. They ended up winning that series. I don't know that like since then the strategy has worked as well. So how did you get better? Because that to me is a foreign thing for me, and I think for a lot of people it's like
to be blitzed.
No, just like. Well, I would get blitzed on like catch and shoot sometimes. Or like Nick Nurse, motherfucking Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse in the 2019 playoffs with Toronto. Like nobody blitzed me when I would do a dribble handoff with Joel Embiid because they were so worried about Joel Embiid on backside. Toronto was probably the best team in terms of scrambling and getting in rotation.
Yeah.
That year they were insane. So Nick Nurse was comfortable. He's like, we're just going to blitz every time that Ben or Joel goes to a dribble handoff. That was like the only high volume blitzing I got in my career. So I'm fascinated as someone who sees it every single night, how you evaluate what your options are and how you still find ways to like score at such a high level.
I mean, I think it's just spacing. I think it's the spacing behind the blitz and, making sure, your team has those packages to, because a blitz can come from any different way. Depending on the spacing of the floor or what point you have the ball. So, I mean, I'm always with getting off the ball and you play advantage basketball on the backside, and it should be a layup, the France cut, what we call out the corner, They can go for the lob and the other guys shake down to the corner. Like,
you guys call it the France cut?
Yeah.
So this is, I want to be clear, 2 on the ball. You throw the big in the middle, and it's what Golden State does with Kuminga and Wiggins out of the corner, and then you get the lob. It's a France cut.
Or to the corner 3.
Yeah. I didn't know it was called a France cut.
That's what we call it. I don't want to give credit if it got to do the research on it. But
the other thing that you guys, I think, do, and partially it's, you brought up the spacing, but you also have a shitload of when you guys are healthy, you have a shitload of shooting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I talked about this in a couple of early games that I called of you guys. It's like a lot of times it's like you and Kevin are next to each other. So obviously you can hit Nurkic in the middle, but a lot of times the next pass on the perimeter is you guys. Is that sort of the spacing you're talking about, right? It's like the next available guy is a guy that you absolutely have to rotate to.
I feel like everybody we have out there is that guy, though. And yeah, obviously we have some things to figure out, but you know, I think that's going to be, you know, not the coverage for people to do, you know, and I feel the same way. Like when teams double team Kevin and I'm on the court, you know what I'm saying? We're going to take that as an insult and be aggressive and make you pay for it. And make or miss, I trust anybody on that backside. Yeah. Grayson, Royce, Brad, Kay. Yeah. Like,
you've been to the finals. I think the league, you talked about like the best players evolving. I think the league has evolved. I think the parity right now in the West is just fucking insane. Boston, obviously a really good team. Milwaukee, there's a number of good teams in the Eastern Conference. You're sort of assessing this team, and I have to do this at times. I'm asked to do this. It's like, you guys are really fucking good when you're healthy. I mean, there's the fourth quarter issues, which I don't know if you want to talk about that, but overall, like your level of just like confidence and trust in sort of the top 7 in this group right now. Do you feel like you guys are good enough? Like you obviously know at this point in your career whether you're not, you're good enough to win it all.
Of course. Like even those guys I just named, just everybody on our roster, I believe in, but I do understand, you know, how much like the details matter and how much chemistry matters. And, you know, it's never the case of, you know, the biggest names win or whoever they say is a super team wins. Like the game is way more complex than that.
My favorite thing is the big man hub.
What's this?
It's like, obviously Jokic is like the ultimate big man hub.
Yeah.
Sabonis. Nurkic is like a big man hub.
Yeah.
I think part of what makes offenses so hard to guard in today's NBA, obviously the spacing, but the fact that there's guys like Nurkic or Sabonis or Jokic. You can post Jokic for sure. You can run pick and roll with him and Jamal Murray for sure. But you could also just throw him the ball and just like move and play around that. And
that's what they do.
I know that. I know. But like Nurkic is the same way.
Yeah.
To me, he's like super underrated. What has he done just for this team? Because you obviously played with other guys. I think he's different than the bigs you played with.
100%. Just the IQ, you know, just having basketball conversations and being able to talk through certain situations is the most impressive to me. And, you know, he'll come with his own gist on things. He'll be like, yo, me and Dame used to get this all the time, Larry. You know, let me try that out. You know, so it's just an ongoing conversation and a relationship that is developing. And I love being on the court with him. He's going to get after it every time. And he takes matchups personally. Like,
we've seen that.
Yeah, he's down to get aggressive and physical. And, you know, that's all you want.
I want to talk about the 70-point game that you had. That was in your second year, correct?
I lost, though.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. This was, by the way, you scored 70, and this was before everybody could score 70 in the NBA. Now it's just a normal thing.
That's what I said. I said that at All-Star interview. I was like, man, everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing it now.
I had it for like 4 years.
I actually would love for you to just like take me through that fourth quarter, and you guys are trying to come back, and just like what's going through your mind. You had to have known at some point, like, oh, I got 50, I got 60.
No, I knew 55, and then I knew at the free throw line I was going to get 70. Tyson let me know I'm on 55. I hit like a step back in front of our bench. He's like, double nickel. He just yelled that shit. And then going to the free throw line, just gave it a quick look up. But
So once you hit 55, did you start like the counter in your head?
Yeah, just
then it's like, all right, I got 60. All right, I got 70.
Yeah. No, seriously. I couldn't even like tell you the plays of what happened. I mean, I've watched it a couple times, but
I've had a couple elite players say to me, I'm actually surprised at how easy it was to score in the NBA. Did you feel that early in your career?
Yeah. I mean, it's just the spacing. I think coming from college where there's always somebody there in the paint. There's always a 7-footer in the paint. And that makes it tough to score. I think the defense of 3 seconds helps out the spacing. The paint's obviously bigger. And like I said, I was training for this over a college-type game all in the first place. Playing space basketball, playing pick-and-roll basketball.
This is a perfect segue. I do want to talk about college basketball real quick. Here's my issue with college basketball. My issue with college basketball, and again, I don't watch a ton of it. When I do watch it, I can enjoy it as like a casual fan. It's a lot of fluff. I call it fluff. It's a lot of fluff actions to get to the actual action you want. That just doesn't happen in the NBA.
30 seconds. We got 30 seconds on the clock.
Why? I just don't understand why you just don't run a pick and roll. You know what I mean? Dude, it's like we want this guy to run a pick and roll. Let's run 3 dribble handoffs.
Oh, they do it on their last seconds of their tournament games when they're down 5 or 10.
Yeah.
And they hit 3 quick threes.
But I think that's what makes the NBA so good. It's literally, and parents may get mad at me, like, because like when I coach these kids, I'm like, I don't want to connect 7 dots at 9 and 10 years old. The more dots I try to connect, the more likely it is a turnover. Mm-hmm. I'm going to run an action with 2 players that I think will result in a good outcome. Because the NBA is like, the NBA is so simple to me. It's like, can you put 2 on the ball? Can you put 2 on the ball? And the reason I bring all this up is because of the fourth quarter. And why does the game slow down so much? Why do you think it is? Why do teams play a certain way for 3 quarters?
I feel like that's our problem right now. You asked about the fourth quarter earlier. I don't know. I think you just feel like you have to value the possession more down the stretch, and you start overthinking when sometimes and usually the best available shot is the first or second one.
Do you think that we, meaning like the NBA, I'll still
no them ones we
no it's
the same we.
Don't put me in that group. Don't put me in that group. Do you think we, meaning like today's NBA, I'm going to throw myself in that group because I still feel part of it. Do you think we, particularly in the fourth quarter, spend too much time trying to find a matchup instead of just playing? I think some of the slowdown for pace, particularly with certain teams,
trying to get a matchup.
Just like it's all about trying to get a matchup, and it's fine. And there's a number of ways. You might hedge once and then switch the second one, right?
Yeah.
You see this all the time where the worst defender will just take the lowest guy on offense and they'll try to bring him up and then they're point switching.
So our team runs zone.
Yeah.
Put him down there.
And all of a sudden, like, you get down to 5 or 6 seconds on the shot clock, and then it becomes about, can Devin Booker score one-on-one? Can Kevin Durant score one-on-one? Can Tatum score one-on-one? You're living it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I felt this at times on certain teams as a player. It's like, is that the best option? I don't know. it feels like basketball to me is like if I'm on the Phoenix Suns with, I'm just using your team, by the way. This is not a knock on any coach because most of the league does this. And it's the prevailing thought right now. We got to exploit mismatches. If I go play a pickup game with your starting five and I have 20 possessions, I'm pretty sure Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are going to shoot the most shots. And I'm pretty sure at times there's going to be two on the ball and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are going to make the right decision. Why do we need to spend 19 seconds trying to match up hunt? It's a question. I'm just asking.
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out.
You agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it has to be control. It has to be controlled, though. I mean,
yes.
teams are making rotations now too. Like, there's a form of great team defense too, where you can put two on the ball and you don't have to give up an open shot.
Who do you think does that well?
I don't want to give these guys no good energy before the playoffs. They're all right.
OM3 fans, let's talk skincare. There is nothing worse than when you find yourself stuck in a cycle of breakouts. But good news, our friends at Lumen Skin and their charcoal face wash have come to the rescue. Lumen is a line of brilliant men's skincare solutions crafted especially for men who want to look and feel their brightest. Whether you're a seasoned skincare pro or a total newbie, Lumen Skin has got you covered. Lumen's charcoal face wash is a purifying wash designed for men of all skin types. It lathers to a creamy foam and gently removes excess oil and dirt in order to rebalance the skin. It is a daily detox for your face. It's perfect for before bed or after a day in the gym. Lumen's charcoal face wash contains charcoal, which seamlessly absorbs dirt and impurities, helping to fight both breakouts and premature aging. The best part? Lumen will let listeners of Old Man and the Three podcast try this product for free. Yes, you heard that right. You can try Lumen's charcoal face wash for free. Head over to lumenskin.com/the3 and get your free trial of Lumen's charcoal face wash and their other amazing products now. Say goodbye to irritated, oily skin and say hello to a new, refreshed you. Don't wait any longer. Your skin will thank you. That's LUMIN skin.com/THE3. A big thank you to our sponsor, SoFi, the official bank of the NBA. They're the next generation of banking, joining the league to help fans get their money right. I love SoFi checking and savings because you can earn more money on your money, up to 4.6% APY on your savings, which is 10 times the national average savings rate. In just 5 weeks, the money sitting in your SoFi savings account is earning more money than it would in 1 year with a big bank savings account with direct deposit. Get paid up to 2 days early, pay no account fees, and you can cash in on up to $300 when you sign up with direct deposit. Terms apply. Visit SoFi.com/banking for full details. SoFi is also running the Zero giveaway all season long. Each week, one lucky fan will get $10,000. I said it, $10,000 added to their bank account thanks to SoFi. Just click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open only to legal U.S. residents 18 and over. Visit SoFi.com/0 for official rules. This ends June 23rd, 2024. Thank you, SoFi. Did you expect the reaction to the team photo of you holding 70 point on a sheet? Did you expect the reaction? There was a little bit of like, I mean, Jay Crowder, who ended up being your teammate, even made a comment, but there was a little bit like, you guys lost the game.
Yeah. I mean, I was 20 years old.
I know.
What?
It was a great accomplishment.
I was celebrating. That's the thing. Like, I've always taken social media too and been able to just digest it and, you know, see it for what it is and have fun with it. So when the first thing I seen was Jay Crowder's comment under it. It's like, all them smiles, they still took a L. And I just gave him a lot of buckets. So I was like, you can't guard me though. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's friendly banner. And I've been able to put that moment into perspective and it was just a great feature in my career. For a season that we didn't have much going, it gave me a lot of promise going into the next season. So it was impactful for me.
I have a confession to make. I had a similar feeling as Jay Crowder. Now, I didn't get on Instagram or Twitter and tweet that out. At the time, that's how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
I was in it. I've matured. I also think it was a great accomplishment, and it should be celebrated. I think it should be celebrated. I think we live in a world right now where it's like, unless you get a ring, it's like we can't celebrate greatness. Why can't we just celebrate greatness? Why can't we just be happy watching someone score 70 points in an NBA game?
It doesn't sell. You need controversy. You need some hate going on.
Playing with Kevin, obviously competed against him for years. Just like, what has that experience been like over the last season and a half, being his teammate, getting to be around him? This is the thing. I had somebody say this to me the other day. Guys doesn't play anymore, but was a young player on one of my teams. And he was like, being around you, being around so-and-so, being around so-and-so, I don't want to give the guy away, but being around all you different guys, being around vets, like, I'm not in the same categories as guys, I want to be clear on that, but guys who just really were serious in how they approached their craft. I think Kevin is like at the top of that, like with how he treats basketball.
It's insane.
What is it like being around him every day?
I mean, exactly what you just broke it down, basically. Like, you're just dealing with a guy that, really loves his craft. And, for me to be a really big fan first, I had a tweet from 2011. I said, Kevin Durant's my favorite player, but LeBron's the best. I found it when I got drafted. Everybody, they start retweeting it. But just always being a fan, and then, hearing those type of stories about how obsessive he is with his work, and, how he gets after and how much of a hoops junkie he is. And then for all those stories to be living up and him surpassing those, and you really find out that he only cares about hoops, is like, it's a match for me. You know what I'm saying?
Eric Gordon, I told you this. Eric Gordon came on this podcast in November, and he said, I wanted to go to the Phoenix Suns because Book and KD fucked with each other, because they were like two stars who got along and had the same mindset and all that.
Yeah, and
I'm going to make an argument here. Well, I'm not going to make an argument. I'm going to give a take. I think whatever happens the rest of Kevin's career, and I mean this, I really do. I'm not just, I'll go on First Take next week and say this shit. I think whatever happens for the rest of Kevin Durant's career, we're going to look back in like 10 or 15 years and be like, why the fuck did we spend all this time with all the bullshit discourse and not just appreciate literally one of the greatest basketball players to ever play this game?
Yeah.
I really, it's not going to happen. And by the way, we're going to keep this in the podcast.
Yeah.
And there'll be a million fucking comments on YouTube about why I'm wrong and why he shouldn't have left Oklahoma City or blah, blah. Who fucking cares? He's literally one of the greatest players ever. And we spend too much time on the bullshit instead of just appreciating his fucking night-to-night greatness. LeBron James has 20 straight seasons scoring 25 points or more a game. That's the record. You know, second?
Kevin Durant.
15 in a row this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, the real ones know. You know what I'm saying? Everything else is clickbait, in my opinion. Like, my biggest thing, I'm sure he'd say the same thing, is like getting respect from the ones that you respect. The real legends of the game, the people that can sit at the same table as you. And once you're verified by those and your idols, like, they're always going to say something. That's just media.
I'll never sit at that table, so I don't have to worry about that shit. Do you in that regard? Do you feel like verified?
Verified?
By the greats. By like your peers, the other great players.
Man, I've had some of the greatest conversations in my life with the people that I most respected. And while they're talking to me, they're direct eye-to-eye contact, and I feel it through the conversations, and those are the moments that, I cherish and, really keep me driven. You were talking about motivation earlier. I didn't even think about this, but these are the ones that really hit me when those real ones, and I don't want to say, who I've talked to behind the scenes, but, I've gotten, a lot of inspiration from some of the best to ever do it and the best to ever do it.
Was one of those conversations Luka and Cabo? You guys were vacationing together.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? One of the other greats you played with was Chris Paul, who I referenced earlier. And, Chris and I had such a great relationship. He co-signed them signing me in free agency to Doc. When Doc had just got the job, we had to do a sign and trade. They had to give up Bledsoe. Like it was, Bledsoe was a young player on his rookie contract. It was a big deal to give him up. So Chris co-signed it. It was like, yeah, if you can go get JJ, go get him. And I saw him at the press conference, and I was just kind of like, hey, I wasn't sure like how he was going to react. I hadn't really talked to him, but we exchanged numbers. So a month later, I was living in Austin at the time. A month later, I drove down to Houston to go to Brandon Bass's wedding, who was a teammate of mine, in a couple different places actually. And I'm sitting there an hour before the wedding in the hotel lobby, and I see CP and Jada walk by, and I'm like, yo, you're at this wedding? And he's like, yeah. And so we sat there for probably that whole hour until it was time to go to the ceremony. And it was just like very clear to me, like who he was. Yeah. You know what I mean by that? Like, I was like, okay, we're going to get along. Because it was the first time we'd ever really spent time together. But, and he said to me, he's like, Book is wired the right way or whatever. Frank Vogel earlier this year said that you got to download CP's brain. And it's one of the reasons that you've been effective essentially as the orchestrator, the lead guard. What does Frank mean by that? What does that mean to you? Like the influence of being around CP and truthfully having basketball conversations with him. Like, what did you learn?
I mean, we got to pull back the layers then, because he's one of those guys that, is obsessed with the game too. So what Coach say was downloading his brain. Well, I'm always loading. Like that really is how I am. Especially around the people that I have a high respect for. So, I'll sit there and listen to every story he has to tell me, and and every moment that he's been through. You develop a relationship that's bigger in basketball.
I think it's impressive too what he's done this year in Golden State, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy who
everything's impressive, man.
I know, but like
19? I mean,
you think about a guy who is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players ever at his position, and is asked to do something that he's never done before in his career. The bad players like me, we got to adapt year to year. Like getting to that stage in your career, be like, you got to do something different now. And embracing that and thriving in it. Bro, my favorite thing, I have a lot of favorite things. I'll say this. My favorite thing is the Jokic spin move where he throws the stupid pass to Aaron Gordon, blind lob dunk from the dunker spot. Like, it's probably my favorite thing in basketball right now. I'm being serious because it's tough. It's just so stupid. It's like the timing. He doesn't always see him. It's stupid. One of my other favorite things in basketball is watching Chris Paul play and point. It seems like an underrated thing.
And point?
Point. Directing traffic.
Oh, yeah. Bringing
the ball up. Young guy going up the right wing. Clay's in the right corner and just pointing at Clay. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm supposed to go screen for Clay. Clay comes off, pin down three, right? Him and Trace Jackson Davis, like pointing at him. No, screen at this angle.
I never even peeped that.
You never peeped how much he points?
I mean, now you're saying that I can visualize it, but I never like.
It's one of the most fascinating things.
Point guard.
Yeah, he's the point guard. But it's the point. It's the pointing for me. Yeah. It's just like it's a small, subtle thing. Yeah. And the fact that he's still doing it, because he did it with me and he did it with New Orleans, and Did it with Phoenix. He did it with Oklahoma City. It's just like, I love that about his game.
Mm-hmm.
Directing traffic.
Directing traffic.
I hope this wasn't too painful for you, man.
Come on, man. We're in the crib. We're chilling. Appreciate you
good.
stopping by.
It's been good. Thank you.
I don't do this.
Oh, I did have one more question.
What's up?
One more question. We had Drew Holiday on the podcast back in 21. After they had won the championship, and you guys
closing out with a finals loss.
No,
okay.
I would never. I'm not bringing that up. No, I'm closing out. I'm closing out with an airplane ride, buddy. I'm closing out.
So right after I lost, the next day. Yeah, we took a flight, man.
No,
it wasn't awkward.
It wasn't awkward.
No, the guys just smelled like shampoo. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
those are great dudes, man.
Drew is like a fucking
Drew and
all-time
Chris,
guy.
man. Yeah, those guys are great, man. It's just, I definitely, I'm gonna think about the finals the rest of my life. It just comes to a point where you realize you lost. All right, now it's the get back, and that's just the process of the NBA. And I'm gonna be on that mission forever till I'm on a golf course every day doing the same thing, competing.
I can't wait till you're like a scratch handicap. You're gonna be a scratch golfers. I feel it.
Everybody said, they're like, oh, shooters can. Man, I've done two and a half years out there. I'm still trying to figure it out.
You'll get there. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks
This is
for
fun.
having me, man.
This is fun.
My man.